Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you after an 11-6 loss at the hands of the Boston Red Sox. We will bring you everything here in just a little bit, the highlights, the game story. We'll go through the box score, talk about all the key moments in just a little bit. Of course, here at Right on Rangers, we cover everything sports, putting a big emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers and especially the Rangers during baseball season. Appreciate you choosing Right on Rangers for your Rangers content. A lot of different options out there. Appreciate the support. If you're not following, you're not subscribed to the channel, like, subscribe so you can stay up to date with all of our latest and greatest content. Get notified anytime we go live. Let's talk some Rangers baseball, whether we'd like to or not. Rangers scored the magic, 4, 5, 6 runs, whatever you want to call it. Rangers are able to put up 6 runs tonight. Crazy enough, in games in which the Rangers scored 6 runs, or more, I should say, 6 runs or more, coming into this game, when the Rangers had scored 6 or more, they were 27-1. That's how good this team has been when they can actually put up runs on the board. Now, look, maybe we're getting a little bit too elementary, but the Rangers have typically won games where they have this much offense. It's really kind of an interesting dichotomy, like the two halves of the seasons. And I mean, I still say, look, at the end of the day, the Rangers, they have some holes. They can obviously be a good team. They have the potential to be a good team, but they have a lack of production at several different spots right now. And I thought tonight's lineup was really interesting. We kind of, I think, are going to go a few different directions tonight, so bear with me. But the starting pitching is definitely starting to become a little bit of an issue. You have the Scherzer IL, you have some starting pitching, some starting pitchers, I should say, that were pitching at a really, really good pace, suddenly faltering a little bit. Maybe it's just a bad stretch. But right now, the starting pitching has been a little bit of a weak spot, suddenly kind of looks a little bit vulnerable. I know that Tyler Mahle is set to make his season debut, his Rangers debut, within a week or so. But nevertheless, you lose Mike Lorenzen to the trade deadline. I think a lot of us expected that. You lose Max Scherzer to the injured list. I don't know if a lot of us expected that, although Max Scherzer has absolutely been a guy that has struggled with injuries since his time with the Rangers. I can't say any of us should be surprised, but I did not think that Scherzer was going to require a trip to the injured list. So suddenly you're scrambling a little bit here without Mike Lorenzen. Tyler Mahle, I believe, just threw in the minors, completed his last rehab start. So you're kind of piecing together some things right now. Don't know if the Rangers have announced the starting pitcher for Saturday. Evo is set to go on Sunday. Rangers dropped the first game of a 3-game set, the first game of the homestand. Was really hopeful that the Rangers would come in after the off day, get a win, have an opportunity Saturday, Sunday to win a series. I know it's easier said than done, obviously, but the Rangers starting pitching, Jose Ureña, as good as he's been, I don't think this needs to be a Jose Ureña bash session. I mean, the guy has been nails for us pretty much all season long. The ERA is at 3.70 despite the poor outing tonight. That kind of tells you all you need to know. Jose Ureña got lit up tonight, and the dude still has a 3.70 ERA. I can't really sit here and bag on Jose Ureña. It's a bad night for him, no doubt. Call it like it is, but we don't need to go any further than that. The guy's been great for us all year, both in a spot starter, but also a long relief role as well. So not Jose Ureña's night, clearly. Rangers went up 1-0 in this one after a Corey Seager home run. And you all know what my pet peeve is. You go up 1-0, and then in the top half of the next inning, or in the next half inning, I should say, you immediately give up the lead, or you allow the other team to score. So Rangers go up 1-0 on the Siegs bomb. Top of the second, you've got to have a shutdown inning. And for Ureña to give up the lead there, I kind of thought to myself instantly, this could be an interesting night, and not in a good way. Now, Tavares, Siegs actually complete the comeback. 3-2 Rangers heading into the top of the fourth. What happens the very next half inning? Fourth spot. Red Sox go up 6-3. It just can't happen. It's one of the things as a pitcher, when your team goes up, especially a team that has struggled offensively, and you got to go out there and you've got to close out 1, 2, 3, or have a fairly clean inning or close to a clean inning in order to stop any kind of momentum that the other team has. Rangers kill the 2-1 lead, go up 3-2, and you've got to have that shutdown inning in the top of the fourth. Instead, Ureña gives up 4 runs. It's just painful. I mean, the Rangers are just having a tough time getting everybody on the same page. If the bats are going well, the pitching sucks. If the bats suck, the pitching's going phenomenally. It's just hard for the Rangers this season, and it's been hard for them to all get on the same page. And I think you're seeing that really in this game, especially. I think over the last couple of games in St. Louis, the entire effort was just poor. But it's frustrating. The offense finally gets going to an extent, and you still drop it. I mean, look, if you would have told me going into this game that Corey Seager and Marcus Semien were going to combine for 3 home runs tonight, I think most people would assume that the Rangers won the game. I mean, right? Corey Seager and Marcus Semien are going to combine for 3 bombs. I think most of us would have said, yeah, that's probably a win, especially considering how good the Rangers pitching has been of late. So suddenly, a little vulnerable. Now, you get Malley back. DeGrom, probably not till the end of August, maybe early September, really getting unlocked, I would say. I don't think they're going to push or rush Jacob DeGrom, especially with where they're at in the season. Just not worth it. I don't think by any means I'm sitting here declaring the season's over. I know some Rangers fans are very much ready to do that. I'm just going to let it play out, y'all. Just be a fan. Support the team, enjoy the games as much as I can. I did enjoy the offensive output tonight. I got to say it was fun. Seager hitting a couple of bombs, Tavares going deep, Simi going deep. It was fun watching that because you just don't see it very much in this 2024 season. So I enjoyed that. It's just unfortunate the pitching isn't able to follow the effort of the offense tonight. Can't really sit here and blame the offense too much. Really can't sit here and blame them too much. I will say this. Once the game got to, and Aaron, it's right on the money. I was just literally about to say this. Once the game got to 7-3, pretty much knew that the game was going to be out of reach. The Rangers, even though they do come back from the 2-1 deficit today, go up 3-2, the Rangers have just not been a comeback team this year. And they haven't been a comeback team in 3-run deficits, 4-run, 5-run. Maybe they could do a 1 or 2, but the Rangers get down 3 runs. It's been extremely rare that they've come back this year. There's been a few times I can think of, and y'all know I've watched a lot of Rangers baseball. There's probably, I've been able to count maybe on one hand how many times they've come back from a 3+ run deficit. It's definitely 5 or less. So the Rangers, the recipe is get out in front, get a great quality outing from your starting pitcher, and hand it off to the bullpen. Now, let's get a little bit more specific here, and I'm going to check comments. What's up to everybody, by the way, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, X, TikTok. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try and go through as many comments as I can. Then we're going to talk about the lineup a little bit here. That's kind of my next bit for the show today. We're going to evaluate a few things. We're going to talk about a few key decisions in the lineup that I think are worth noting. What's up, Baseball Network? Tonight was very sad. It's sad because the offense actually came to life somewhat today, and the pitching's just terrible. It's just, if it's not one thing, it's another. And, for all the struggles the offense had in St. Louis, they come out tonight hitting the home run ball, and Jose Ureña just can't be the guy that he's been all season. I'm not going to sit here and bash Ureña, but it's just unfortunate. Let me keep going here. Another one from Baseball Network. Corey Seager popped off and we had 4 homers, but it wasn't enough. Yeah, absolutely. It was fun watching the long ball. You just don't see the Rangers hit 4 homers in a game. I think that's what makes this painful. You don't see the Rangers homer twice in a game, let alone 4 times, and you still take the L. It just sucks. Ario, what's up? Thanks for tuning in today. Appreciate you. JG, what's up, my guy? He says, before the season, I placed a futures bet on Seager to be the AL home run leader, a long shot, which I thought had promising upside. It's interesting you bring that up. I actually did a short or a reel, depending on whatever social media platform you love, but there was a bet coming into the season on Seager. I think the over-under for him was, I forget if it was 28 and a half or 29 and a half home runs. And I said that was one of the best locks in baseball, Seager to hit at least 30 homers. I think he's doing pretty well on the pacing. He's got 21. He has to hit 9 home runs over the next 2 months. I think that bet is going pretty well to cash. Now, home run leader, he'd have to probably make up quite a bit of ground. Who is the home run leader right now? If you know by chance, I'll try and look it up on the fly here, just out of curiosity. But Siegs would have to do some damage, I think, to be the home run leader at this point. Bobby Witt, is that it? No, he leads in average. Aaron Judge has 39. Yeah, I don't think Corey Seager's catching Aaron Judge. I do think he's going to get to 30 homers. I don't think he's catching Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and all those guys. Texas Rangers fans only, what's up? Appreciate y'all tuning in. Yeah, Aaron, I want to get back to the rest of your comment here. Heard over the PA system that 2-run Bo Sox homer, shake my head and keep walking. I've been there so many times. You leave a game early and then you hear the announcer, you hear the PA system, and there's more runs by the opposition being scored. Classic. Definitely a night to go home early. I definitely did not watch the late innings. Tried to keep up on my phone, watching here and there when the Rangers were up to bat. Watched a lot of the key replays and everything like that, but not a game that I particularly locked in on after I saw the big deficit. After I saw that big deficit, you kind of knew where this one was going. Let me go ahead and let me talk through a few things in this lineup that I think are a little bit concerning. Maybe not a lot of cause for concern. I don't know. Just going to obviously be my 2 cents here. But I do want to note something that I hope is just a bad game. Gio, what's up? I was actually just about to lead with this. Josh Smith with the 4 strikeouts. I mean, look, it didn't make a difference in the game. You score 6 runs, you probably should be able to win a ball game. But Josh Smith, he's been a great player for us all season long. There's no denying that. Josh Smith, a big reason why the Rangers are still competitive at this point in the year. And when I say competitive, I mean not like totally mathematically out of it. I mean, like, Rangers are not looking great right now in terms of playoff prospects. There's no denying that. But Josh Smith has helped keep this team afloat. I think we can all agree on that. Josh Smith, last 7 games, 185 batting average, 240 OBP. Last 15 games, hitting 200, 297 OBP. And I know that Josh Smith has not been the leadoff hitter over those last 15 games. Now, it is getting close with the 7 games. I think he's getting pretty close to 7 games as a leadoff hitter. Maybe y'all can check me on that. But Josh Smith hitting 185 as your leadoff hitter is just not going to play. Again, Josh Smith wasn't the reason the Rangers lost today, but going 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts, there were a couple of moments for Josh Smith where he had an opportunity to continue rallies, to extend rallies, and didn't get it done today. We had a few guys that were not able to drive in runs with runners in scoring position. Wasn't many. The Rangers, crazy enough, only had 2 opportunities with runners in scoring position. Like I said, there were some moments, I think, where the Rangers had an opportunity to build at least off of their comeback and make it a little bit of a closer game. I think when the game was at 6-3, there were some moments in there where maybe you could have made it 6-4, 6-5, but weren't able to string together enough hits. Josh Smith, though, going 0 for 4, 4 Ks, golden sombrero. Feel bad for the guy. I think he is definitely in a little bit of a season of regression right now. And when I say season, I think he's just in a little bit of a stretch. That's a better word. He's in a stretch where he is, I think, regressing a little bit at this point. That doesn't mean that he can't have a good stretch coming up here. He can't have a great game tomorrow. But I do think, based on the stats alone, which I think is the ultimate truth serum at times, right? I mean, he's 225 in his last 30 games. That's a pretty big sample size of Josh Smith being pretty mediocre. So as much as we love Josh, he's not the reason why we're losing ball games. I think there's definitely more to it. It's a team effort, but Josh Smith has not been good lately. He has not been good over the past month, and that's hard when you've got him hitting leadoff. To continue to do that, I don't know if they're going to be able to. I think they'll probably give him a little bit more time here. At some point, if the Rangers keep dropping games, it really doesn't matter. Play around and do whatever you want with the lineup, right? That's the reality. Once the Rangers kind of hit that point where it's clear and obvious, you can play around with a lot of different things. While they're still being competitive, I do think that they're going to have to continue to evaluate that spot. I don't know if there's an easy solution right now. I do think that Josh is definitely a leadoff type hitter or even a two-hole hitter. If we didn't have Corey Seager, maybe you could have Josh Smith in the 2 spot. I think 1 is actually a great spot for him. He's a guy that gets on base a lot. He's a guy that collects base hits. He definitely is somebody I think that can do it. But over the last 30 games hitting 225, he's definitely had a little bit of regression here over the past month. And we love Josh, love what he's done this year. This isn't a Josh Smith slander session here, but the numbers don't lie. He's hitting 225 over his last 30 games. So Gio definitely agreed. It was not a good game for Josh. Rangers scored 6. Can't blame him, obviously, in the slightest for the loss today. I think 6 runs is plenty. You should be able to win a ball game scoring 6. Rangers giving up double-digit runs in back-to-back games, definitely concerning. Let me keep going here. Baseball Network says, I feel like we should put Smith back at the 3 spot, and he might be doing good offensively again. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this. I think if you kind of consider the numbers that I just said, I may have to agree to disagree with you here, because if he's hitting 225 over his last 30 games, a majority of those games were from the 3 spot. What he's only been leading off, it's definitely in the single digits. So for me, I don't know how good I feel putting him back behind Seager. I would rather probably have Josh Young hit 3 over Josh Smith at this point. And I'm not saying Josh Young is any kind of savior. I've said over and over, I did not think him coming back to the lineup was going to make a huge difference. But Josh Young, he does go 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Definitely not his best game either. But I do think at this point, I would probably hesitate to put Josh Smith back in that 3 spot with him hitting as bad as he is right now. It's not good. And Josh Smith, I don't think is the best guy to protect Corey Seager. I think Semien's better. I think Josh Young would be a better protector of Corey Seager at this point. So may have to agree to disagree on that one. I don't think Josh Smith has been playing well over the past month from either spot in the lineup. So let's keep going here. Aaron says, basically put Josh Smith at third base and lower in the order. I think that is what needs to happen. The lower in the order part for sure. Now, I do think that Josh Young is a better third baseman than Josh Smith. So I don't know if that is super, super debatable. Maybe there's some people out there that like Josh Smith's glove better, but from what I saw from Josh Young last year, I think Josh Young is a more capable third baseman. The only argument to put Smith back in the field is maybe just for, the sake of him and consistency and being in a groove. Maybe he is one of those guys that needs to be in the field. We've talked about that. There are some players like that, right? They just can't hack it when they're doing the DH thing. So you guys remember, I know you guys remember Mitch Garver from last year. We had the same thing with Garv, right? Garv was DHing, and he wasn't doing a great job. They started playing him at catcher. He kind of started getting a little bit of a hot bat once he was playing back in the field. And some guys do need that. He kind of finally figured it out towards the end of the season. But I do remember Garv Sauce had a problem DHing. He just was not doing well DHing and not playing the field. So it can be a thing for some guys. I think that's the only argument really to put Smith back at third base. I think he's pretty clearly a worse third baseman than Josh Young. Not terrible. I wouldn't even say he's average. I would say Josh Smith is an above average defender, but I just think in comparison to Josh Young, he's not as good. So let's keep things going here. Gio says, it's always weird that the Rangers starters always give up runs after the Rangers take the lead. It happens a lot. It feels like it's happened a lot this season. Like, I don't have the stats in front of me, but the Rangers, in my opinion, are not particularly good at the shutdown inning. And what I mean by that is when you score runs in the bottom or top half, in the next half inning, when the other team comes up to bat, you got to throw up a zero. It's such a big thing. It really, really keeps momentum on your side, obviously. And I think it just builds more confidence throughout the game. It shuts the other team down. And I think it is a huge recipe to success. You have that shutdown inning, scoring first, throwing up a zero after you score runs. I think those are two huge keys to winning ball games. Maybe they're too simple or seem obvious. I don't know. But when you score first and when you come up with shutdown innings after you score in general, when you put up crooked numbers on the board, usually good things happen. Let's keep things rolling. Aaron says, let's discuss this quickly. There have been 3 no-hitters thrown this season and at least 4 near no-nos through 7+. Yeah, I look, Snell comes through with the no-hitter today. You know what my first thought was is, man, why can't we have something like that? Why can't we have nice things? Of course, it's envy from me when I see that Blake Snell no-hitter headline coming across my screen. Like, why can't we have nice things? Come on now. And we've got some guys that I think have no potential on the staff, no doubt. Evo, obviously, super high quality talent. We've got some guys I think that could do it. But the Rangers can't have nice things this year, I guess. Not yet, at least. Let me keep going here. Aaron says, Scherzer to 15-day IL with Pennington being called up. Maybe we'll see Pennington this series. I did not see this news. I'm assuming that this is official. So Pennington's coming up. That'll be good to see him. I really hope that the Rangers are able to give him a good look. I would really like to not see the Rangers put him in some pressure cooker situation. Y'all know what I mean? Like, I just don't think that the Rangers need to be putting him in with bases loaded and 1 out. I mean, I feel like we've done that to a few young guys, and I don't think it's gone well. So me personally, I would really like to see the Rangers find a nice spot, a clean inning for Pennington to come in. I feel like with Cole Winn, Owen White, at the beginning of the year, we just threw those guys right in the fire and expected it to go well. So I'd really like to see Pennington come into a clean inning and hopefully be able to gain some confidence, and then we can ease him into those big pressure cooker spots. Now, let me keep going and kind of going off of this comment here. Chafin tonight. I don't know if it's because it's a big lead. I've talked about this over and over. I think it's hard for some pitchers to come in to a blowout and still have a quality outing. So whether you throw in multiple innings or 1 inning, I'm going to chalk this one up from Chafin to he was coming into a blowout. Maybe the focus isn't there. It does happen even to major leaguers, but obviously not a great thing to see. The one guy that we really acquired that was of note, I don't think Carson Kelly, despite the OPS being in the mid 700s, I don't think Carson Kelly was some big buy or big get. I mean, I don't know. Feel free to argue with me on that one, but I don't think Carson Kelly was any kind of big special purchase for the Rangers. I do think Chafin was a significant buy. He's a guy that you can have for next year if you so choose. There's a club option on Chafin. Disappointing that he comes in tonight and gives up the home run. Chafin went 1 inning, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 strikeouts. So we saw the swing and miss ability, which I do love out of Chafin. I am going to go ahead and just, chalk this one up to him coming into a blowout. Hopefully, when we bring him in tighter situations, he'll be back to the guy that was throwing so great for the Tigers this year. But Chafin, bummer his debut as a Ranger had to go that way. Yep, I obviously agree. Made that point a few minutes ago. I know I'm a little bit behind on the comments, but appreciate your comment, my guy. Thank you. I do think Young is a better third baseman, but as Aaron and I were kind of making the point, some guys need to play the field. And I don't know, maybe Josh Young is like that too. That's the conundrum, right? If you got 2 guys that need to play the field in order to be good hitters, you got to go with the one that has more ability, has more potential. That would be Josh Young. If Josh Young can DH and still be a successful hitter, maybe you try it. I don't know. I think that the Rangers are going to have to keep their eye out on that situation. It would be interesting to see, and I don't know if y'all are going to be able to find this for me. I don't think I'm going to be able to find it live. It's just too hard. But I would be curious, what are Josh Smith's splits? So Smith splits when he's just DHing. I think that would be a really interesting stat to look up. I think it would be really interesting to see it for all of our guys. How are their numbers DHing compared to when they play the field? I think it might be eye-opening to see what Josh Smith numbers are at. So if any of y'all can do that for me, I greatly appreciate it. I'll surely look it up after I'm done here, but I just think it might be too difficult. I'll try, but hey, if you find that out, let me know. What are Josh Smith's splits when he's DHing versus when he's playing the field? Now let's keep going. Robbie Grossman continues to get hits lately. Look, I think that Robbie is going to be a guy that with the Evan Carter news that you got to consider playing a little bit more. Now, Leote had a nice home run tonight. He was 1 for 2 before he was pulled for Robbie, who was also 1 for 2. Zeke Duran goes 0 for 4. I wouldn't mind seeing Robbie a little bit more. I think with Zeke Duran and that hot streak, I think they really were hoping he could come up to the majors and do something similar. I have my doubts. I, in fact, would have loved to have seen them trade Zeke Duran. I really don't know why we kept him around. He's blocked at every position. We had him playing right field tonight, which kind of leads me into, it was really interesting to me. Coming out of an off day, and the Rangers have done this multiple times over the course of the season. Coming out of an off day, I have no idea why you're not starting Adolis Garcia, why you're not starting Jonah Heim. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The only way it does make sense is if you're legitimately considering giving those guys less playing time, which maybe the Rangers are. They're not going to be too open-lipped about that one. They're going to keep it tight to the chest, but I think the only reason why you bench Garcia and Heim coming out of the off day is if you are displeased with the production and you're potentially considering giving some other guys some more playing time. And maybe that's the direction the Rangers will start going, giving those guys more off time. I never really thought that Jonah Heim was going to be a guy who was ever really in danger of losing playing time. The glove, the managing of the pitching staff. And look, I'm sure Jonah's still going to get a lot of time out there. It's just really interesting to me coming out of an off day. And maybe I shouldn't be surprised because Bochy's done this several times. But I just don't get out of an off day why you're not having your top guys out there. And I would say at this point, even as bad as Dolly has been over the course of the season, you probably still want him out there over Zeke Duran in right field. I mean, Zeke does have a cannon. I know he can play outfield, but I'd rather have Dolly out there at this point. I don't rate Zeke Duran higher than Dolly. I don't know. Maybe there's some Rangers fans that are just sick of Dolly and the 210 batting average and want to see Duran out there instead. I feel the exact opposite. I know exactly what I'm getting with Zeke Duran. I know exactly what I'm getting with Dolly. Dolly has more upside than Duran. So I'd rather have Dolly out there despite Dolly's lack of production. I don't know. It's confusing to me that you would give those guys an extra off day unless they're ailing, unless there's something going on. Maybe that's the case. Don't know if they asked Bochy about it in the post game or in the pregame, but the Rangers have done this a few times this year. Don't get it. But to be fair, Jonah Heim and Garcia have not been playing that great this year and of late. So maybe it's a signal that there's some changes coming. Maybe those guys are not going to be quite so every day anymore. I do kind of think with Carson Kelly being the kind of bat that he's been this year, I do think acquiring him a rental catcher, you had Kisner, you were at the point where you were at in the season where you're under 500. Yes, you were a few games out. Kind of seems odd that they would acquire Carson Kelly and not really play him. I'm curious to see what happens, but that move definitely caught my eye. Beyond that, Corey Seager, I got on Siegs. Y'all heard me last week and earlier this week, get on Seager a little bit. I said, we have got to be getting some home runs out of Corey Seager. Dude has got to be driving the ball out of the ballpark. He answered the bell. Siegs is almost up to a 280 average. 3 for 3 tonight with 3 RBI. Simi goes 1 for 4 with 2 RBI. The Rangers' big bats came through tonight. Unfortunately, Smith goes 0 for 4. Langford goes 0 for 3. And we talked about Wyatt Langford as well. Wyatt is not on a good stretch right now. And he's our 4-hole hitter. He puts up another 0-fer. And over his last 7 games, over his last 15 games, hitting 186. 240 over his last 7, not terrible. But 186 over his last 15. Wyatt, I would not say is on a great stretch right now. Even his last 7 games, the OBP is 267. So Rangers are struggling at some pretty key spots in the order right now. And it's a big reason why they're not able to complete these comebacks. I still put more of the loss tonight on the pitching staff than anything. But look, there are definitely some glaring things to point out in the offense at this point. Nate Lowe goes 1 for 4. Josh Young, we talked about 0 for 4. So both Joshes combined for 7 strikeouts tonight. Eesh. 7 strikeouts between the Joshes. Zeke Duran, already talked through him, 0 for tonight. Kelly did go 1 for 4 with the run scored. Leote with the homer. Grossman with the base knock. Kelly was the only one with the double tonight. Seager, 2 bombs. Leote, Semien. Just, I would say, if the Rangers can get to this 6-run mark, they should win most of their games. It's just kind of like the season in a nutshell at this point. Again, when one thing isn't working, the other one is. When the pitching is phenomenal, the bats aren't. And when the bats are phenomenal, the pitching is not. And that's just what's going on right now. That is how the Rangers season is working out. Let me keep going. Baseball Network says, I feel like we should maybe put a good bat in the 6th or 7th or 8th spot so we have some late order help. I think that's kind of what Aaron maybe was suggesting. So Aaron said move Smith down. I think you could easily move Josh Smith down into the 6th, 7th, 8th spot. And then you have a quote unquote good or solid bat down there in the 6th, 7th, 8th spot. I think that is definitely something the Rangers are going to consider once maybe they see Josh Young get back into a little bit more of a groove. I wouldn't say right now Josh Young is in a groove. You got to give him some slack. He's coming off a very extended absence. But I do think the plan probably should be for Josh Smith to hit a little bit lower in the order at some point. I just don't know what they're going to do with the leadoff spot. I think the options are really limited. Beyond Marcus going back to hit leadoff, the options are very limited to what you can do. And I do like Semien hitting in the 3 spot. I know some Rangers fans don't. I just think you've got to have a guy protecting Seager. Look, let's just be real here. Is it really shocking anybody that Corey Seager hits 2 bombs with Semien protecting him? Like, I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think that's dumb luck that Corey Seager has Marcus Semien behind him and he goes off for 2 bombs tonight and goes 3 for 3. I think that is 100% a Semien effect, at least a big part of it. Now, Seager, obviously, he still has to hit either way. We're not saying that it's everything, but it doesn't shock me or surprise me. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Corey Seager goes off tonight with Marcus Semien protecting him. You pitch differently when you know you've got a guy behind that can swing the bat and swing it for power. When you know you got Josh Smith behind Corey Seager, you're a lot more comfortable pitching around Siegs. So I really don't want to see Josh Smith back in the 3 spot at all. If you're going to move Marcus back to 1, I think there's really only 1 or 2 other options at this point. I think you either go Josh Young or you go Nate Lowe. I think those are the only 2 guys that I'd be willing to hit in the 3 hole besides Marcus Semien. So if you're going to move Simi back to 1, I think it's either got to be Josh Young in 3 or Nate Lowe in 3, like we did at the beginning of the season, right? Nate Lowe was our 3-hole hitter coming out of the injured list and off his rehab assignment. I think those are the only options. I don't think anybody else needs to be hitting 3 spot besides Lowe, Semien, or Josh Young. You guys put in the comments if you think somebody else would be well suited there. It's just got to be somebody that can protect Siegs. I think Nate Lowe is pushing it. I really only think it's between Semien and Young at this point for that 3 spot. It's got to be a guy that has that name, like that branding. I know that's a bad choice of words perhaps, but it's got to be somebody that people respect. I don't think there's a lot of people around the league that respect Josh Smith. We love him as Rangers fans. I don't think that he has a lot of respect around the league at this point. Josh Young, I do think people realize the hitting prowess, the potential. They know he was an all-star last year. They saw what he did in the postseason. I think Josh Young definitely could be a 3-hole hitter for us if you wanted to move Marcus Semien back to 1. Personally, I would love to see them make it work to have Semien continue to hit 3. We'll see. Gio says, Rangers are 1-6 in the last 7 games. Yeah, it's not been pretty. It's not been pretty. Aaron, appreciate these stats, man. Thank you. As DH on the season, 195, 558 OPS, 28 walks, 100 Ks, 9 homers, 44 RBI, 12 doubles, 1 triple, 45 runs scored. The DH has been a problem. It's been a problem for the Rangers at this point. And that's why I think a lot of us wanted to see them try and upgrade the position. The DH has been terrible for the Rangers this year. Terrible. Now, I would love to see, again, what are the splits for Josh Smith? And I'm going to try and look that up right now. I've got his page on MLB pulled up. The only question is, are they going to give it in these? Let me see. 5th inning, blah, 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 blah. No, I don't think so. Although batting first, he's hitting, so this is good. Batting leadoff, he's hitting 238. So 6 games from the leadoff spot, and he's hitting 238. Batting third, 254. So again, not ideal. Josh Smith in the 3 spot, hitting 254 on the year. Not great for your 3-hole hitter. I think we all can agree on that. There's a few other ones that are kind of funny here. Batting fourth, hitting 500. Maybe that's what we need to unlock. Josh Smith hitting from the 4th spot. Apparently, he's got 8 at bats this year, hitting cleanup, and he's hitting 500. He's 4 for 8. Maybe that's where we need to stick Josh Smith, right in that cleanup spot. He's batting, when he bats 8th, he's batting 438. There you go. So there's a few different spots in there. Maybe he's more comfortable. We'll see what they do with Josh Smith. I don't see them continuing to hit him leadoff if he continues to struggle as he has. Let me keep going. 267 as a DH. That's not bad. So maybe not really a huge cause for concern at this point with the whole DH play the field thing. 267, I think. I mean, not ideal. I think you want your DH maybe hitting a little bit higher if they are not going to be hitting for power. Josh Smith, not a power hitter. I don't know. But Josh Smith hitting 500 from the cleanup spot. hitting 438 from the 8-hole. There might be some better alternatives out there. I don't think they can continue to hit him leadoff for too much longer. Let me keep going here, y'all. We're going to start pushing towards tomorrow here in just a little bit. Try and put a bow on this game, flush some things out. Going back to Ezekiel Duran, I don't know. I don't know if they asked this question to Chris Young directly, but I was really surprised that they did not trade him. I think that the Rangers could have traded Zeke Duran on that tear, 5 homers in 6 games. They could have traded him for a controllable power bat, a controllable right-handed bat. He's blocked at every position. I really don't understand why they were not willing to pull the trigger on him. Did anybody really think Zeke Duran was going to come back up to the majors and hit 5 bombs in 6 games again? I think that you had very high stock, just like last year when Zeke was hitting over 300. The stock on him was very high at the beginning of June 2023 last year, and you decided to hold on to him then. Now you send him down to the minors this season. He starts crushing it right as the trade deadline approaches. I just feel like that was served up on a platter. Trade that dude. He's not going to be playing with any consistency as a Texas Ranger. The guy is blocked at every one of the positions that he plays. Yes, he got a start tonight, but he's blocked everywhere. He's not playing third, short, second. Zeke Duran, I know he got a little time at first. You don't want Zeke Duran playing first base. And look, I kind of feel, just based on what I've seen, I don't think Zeke is the worst outfielder I've ever seen, but you kind of got to put a tent on the circus at sometimes with him out there. I can remember multiple misplays from him playing left field earlier this year. I don't think you want him out in the outfield on a consistent basis. I don't know why they did not trade him. Did not understand that at all. Let me keep going. Not a whole lot for us to go through in the box score. We went through pretty much every Rangers player. I think we go ahead and we look towards tomorrow, although I don't think the Rangers have classified, have told the media who their starter is going to be. At least when I checked before I got on the live, it's still said to be determined. I am going to check right now. We'll at least go through the Red Sox starter, and we'll talk about how the Rangers have fared against him. So tomorrow, game is going to be at 6:05 Texas time once again. And we still have, looks like, a to be determined on the Rangers pitcher. I don't know who it's going to be. Dane Dunning pitched tonight, and I thought that was maybe going to be the guy. Do they think about throwing Cody Bradford? Could that be an option? I think that makes sense to me. Cody hasn't thrown in a while. I know they wanted to kind of ease him in with the bullpen, but I don't know. Tanner Houck, by the way, throwing for the Red Sox tomorrow. And against Houck, Garcia 1 for 3 with the bomb. Jonah Heim 1 for 3. Young and Kelly both 0 for 2. Nate Lowe 0 for 3. Seager 0 for 3. Marcus Semien 1 for 8. So the number is not great against Tanner Houck, the Red Sox probable starter for tomorrow. No pitcher declared for the Rangers yet, although I would think you're probably going to see Cody Bradford tomorrow. Probably going to see Bradford. Houck, by the way, let's check him out for his stats in the past 7 games, 2.79 ERA, All-Star. I watched him pitch in the All-Star game. I think he got hit around a little bit, though. Didn't he give up the bomb to Ohtani in the All-Star game? Am I remembering that right? I mean, look, not that it means like everything, but I thought he was the one that gave up that 3-run bomb to Ohtani. Over his last 7 games, he has been struggling a little bit compared to his beginning to the season. So Tanner Houck, 4.50 ERA in his last 7 games, 18 walks in 38 innings. So the walks have been a little bit up, a 150 whip, so allowing basically 1.5 base runners an inning. Only 27 Ks in those 38 innings over his last 7 games. So potential to put the ball in play against him. He's gone 6 innings in his last 3 starts. Last one was against New York at Fenway. He went 6, gave up 3. At Colorado, he went 6, gave up 4 and 10 hits. Against Oakland, went 6, gave up 0. So I can't say his last 3 starts have been terrible by any means. The Colorado game, giving up 10 hits, 3 walks. That one definitely doesn't look pretty. But look, you only gave up 4 runs in 6 innings. That's not the end of the world. But Houck's a good pitcher, no doubt. Not taking anything away from him. Rangers are going to have their hands full. They've been struggling against right-handed pitchers of late. Houck being an all-star guy, I definitely think the Rangers are going to have a great approach, a great set of approaches tomorrow against him. Doesn't look like we have a whole lot of past success. Not that that is the end-all, be-all, but I think past success against a pitcher definitely gives a team confidence. Not a lot of Rangers players with a big sample size against Houck. So we'll see what happens. Again, the game at 6:05 tomorrow. I'm assuming since it's a 6:05 start, are we on Fox tomorrow? Is that like the Fox game? Usually it feels like the Saturday night games, at least in the central time zone, if they're that late on a Saturday, usually they're Fox games. So are we about to be on national TV? I sure hope we don't embarrass ourselves if that's the case, but maybe we'll see. I can't, it won't tell me on here. It looks like it's just supposed to be Bally and the Red Sox network that they have. I'm not seeing Fox or anything like that underneath the watch section. So maybe just a late start for whatever reason. Feels like usually Saturday's a day game, but is what it is. We're just getting into the minutia right now. Chris says Rangers ain't doing anything beyond fake gatekeepers, overachievers, known addicts. Oh man, I just put this up here so we could all have a little chuckle. I don't make sense of much of that, Chris, but I do appreciate you watching, buddy. Now, the Rangers definitely have come down from the 2023 World Series champions that they were last year. That's obvious. I don't know if I would say they're fake or anything like that. They've been pretty consistent this year, right at the clip that they're at. I think the Rangers are exactly what they've been showing. Fake would mean that the Rangers have this awesome record, but they're actually a really bad team. I think the Rangers right now are pretty much exactly who they're showing themselves to be. Let me keep going. Right now, we have a little AL West roundup to do. It wasn't looking pretty in terms of the results for the Houston game and the Seattle game, but we'll bring them to you if you haven't been able to catch the scores yet. So we've got the Astros winning 3-2. Rays really squandered an opportunity in the 8th inning. The Rays had the bases loaded, 1 out, 1-run game. Were not able to push across any runs. Astros hold on late. Josh Hader gets the save. Astros improved to 57-52, defeating the Rays in Houston. Mariners tonight played the Phillies, and it is 10-0 Seattle right now. Was not something I was expecting. I thought Seattle might struggle with the Phillies. Maybe that'll still happen the rest of the weekend, but looks like both teams in the AL West that are ahead of the Rangers are going to be taking the dub tonight. Not good for Rangers. Just not good. Rangers 5.5 back, and they will, I think, maintain that at this point with the Astros technically being the first place holder and already winning. Even if Seattle wins, Rangers will still be 5.5 out. Rangers on a 3-game losing streak. The run differential for the Rangers for a long time was positive, even though they had the losing record. With some of these blowout losses, it's now down to -18. Rangers have been really good at home, 29-23 coming into this one. I expected the Rangers to put together a nice homestand. It hasn't been the case, at least as of tonight, but they still have, 5 games left? So we'll see. I really hope that this can be a homestand where they win some ball games, even though they're playing some good talent. This is the place where they've done most of their winning on the season. So before they hit the road, I sure would like to see them take some games in this series, bounce back, win the next 2. If they can bridge tomorrow's game and get to Evo, I feel pretty good about Sunday and winning the series. I think maybe there's some of y'all out there thinking I'm crazy, but I think if you can figure out a way to win tomorrow, I think you've got a pretty good chance with Evo on the bump to win the series. And then you've got a big one with Houston coming up. Big one with Houston. We are going to talk some baseball around the league, and then we're going to sign off for the day. Trout out the rest of the season. I feel bad for Trout. I do watch some Angels news here and there, and I saw that he tore his meniscus again. I don't know if it was the same one or a different one, but Mike Trout at the end of his career, body just kind of breaking down on him at this point. Look, obviously I don't love Trout tearing up the Rangers, so don't miss that. Trout is a Rangers killer, seems to hit multiple home runs every series we play them, but you like to see the greatest players in the game actually play. Mike Trout, though, plagued by injuries the last several years. It's crazy. Mike Trout had 10 homers in 29 games before he got hurt. I mean, 10 homers in 29 games. Felt like this was going to be kind of a big year for him, at least power-wise. I know the average was down. It was not pretty, but averages are down all over the league. 10 homers in 29 games for Mike Trout. Pretty impressive. I mean, very impressive. So, I don't know. I won't say, Aaron, that he's done being an all-star, but I think that his body has not been holding up really any of the past several seasons. I don't really have a lot of reason to believe it's going to do so next year. I think we'll maybe see some flashes of greatness from him next year, assuming he comes back fully healthy. But at this point, I just don't think you're getting anywhere close to 162 out of Trout. And Trout, honestly, I wish he would have left LA. I definitely can appreciate the loyalty, but I wish he would have left LA. I think that was the move. I think with the Ohtani signing by the Dodgers, with him clearly on his way out of town, I do think Mike Trout could have been a little bit more instrumental in forcing a trade. I think the Angels have shown that they are not a very solidly run franchise, and they haven't been really over the past, I would say, 14, 15 years. And they had their years in the early 2000s, and it's been misstep after misstep after that with a ton of their acquisitions. So I really feel like Trout should have probably forced his way out. I know he was concerned about the optics of that, just based on his interviews and the quotes that you saw out of Trout around that time. I would have loved to see him go somewhere where he could be playing for a quality organization that surrounds him with great players, good pitching. And it just would have been fun to see him in the playoffs. It's fun to see the best baseball players play in October. You know, no other way to say it, even if it's not the teams and the players that I personally root for. I love watching baseball in October, and it's even better when it's the best stars in the game. So Mike Trout, feel bad for him. Wish he was on a different team. Selfishly, I'd like to see him play for a little bit of a bigger franchise, and I wouldn't mind him being out of the division. That being said, it is benefiting the Rangers. They are hamstrung with Mike Trout's big contract. They're not able to really go out and do a whole lot with bigger contracts. Rendon's, that is a noose around the neck. Anthony Rendon. Can we talk about Rendon for a second? So Rendon was a guy that was targeted by the Rangers for a long time. For a long time going into that offseason, they were in those discussions with Rendon and ultimately pulled out when the number got too high and the Angels ultimately ended up paying him. What a huge fold on the Rendon discussions. Can you imagine if we had Rendon right now? I mean, that would have been one of the worst contracts, probably worse than the Chan-Ho Park one. Those of y'all Rangers fans that have been around for a long time, you know what I'm talking about. The Chan-Ho Park contract, probably in my mind, the worst contract that the Rangers have ever given out. I think A-Rod 10 years for $252 million. Actually, right now, I think it's probably a great deal. I mean, 25 mil at the time per season back in the early 2000s was crazy. But look, it doesn't shock me right now, considering what some of these baseball players are getting today. But I definitely feel like we dodged a huge bullet not signing Rendon. I got to admit to y'all, I wanted to sign him. I wanted to sign Rendon. We had not drafted Josh Young at that point. We were looking for the heir apparent to Adrian Beltre. Rendon had just tore up the Astros in the World Series in what was that, 2019, 2020? I don't know. Whatever year the Nationals won it all. Rendon was just obliterating the Astros. Really, that whole postseason, he was solid. So glad that the Rangers did not sign him. Let me keep going here. So we are going to go ahead and check out headlines around the league, see if we missed anything, and then we're going to sign off for the night. And we'll be back post-game tomorrow after the Rangers hopefully win against the Red Sox. I don't know who the pitcher is going to be. We shall see. But around the league today, Aaron Judge joins Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle with 40th home run. I'll have to see what the milestone is here. Let's see here. Becoming the fourth Yankee player to hit 40 or more home runs in at least 3 separate seasons. That's some pretty elite company. That is some pretty elite company. Aaron Judge is a beast. Kikuchi made his debut, I believe, for the Astros tonight and pitched really, really well. I said to y'all, I wasn't really worried about that signing, and I'm really still not at this point. Look, the Rays pretty much sold off their entire offense, I think minus Yandy Diaz. So I don't know how much stock you want to put in Kikuchi dominating a Rays team that just sold, but he did have a good night tonight. Absolutely. Bell, Aaron, you'll appreciate this. I know you were wanting the Rangers to take a look at Josh Bell. Bell stars in D-backs debut. Don't know what his night was. I'm going to see. Josh Bell and Ketel Marte ended up with 2 homer games. So Josh Bell hits 2 bombs tonight. Aaron, that one's got to hurt a little bit, my friend. Josh Bell, man, I did not have him on my radar just because I think Nate Lowe was coming along, and I think Josh Bell could have probably been a good DH for us. But I wasn't thinking with Nate Lowe playing well, the Rangers would probably go out and get a first baseman type. But, man, Josh Bell going to a new team, hitting 2 bombs in the same game. He's looking pretty good right now. Freddie Freeman still out amid his son's health crisis. We talked about that on the show during the Astros series with the Dodgers. Freeman left the team, went to go attend to his son. Thoughts and prayers with the Freeman family for sure. Soler comes up clutch for the Braves. They recently acquired him from the Giants. Man, all of these big trade pieces, all these big trade acquisitions coming through for their new teams. I'm jealous reading about it, y'all. I just am. Beyond that, I don't think there is a whole lot else to go through. This is kind of fun. I don't know how many of y'all play Beat the Streak. Beat the Streak is a game on the MLB app that you can play. Basically, you just pick one guy or you can pick 2 guys in a day to get a hit. And the goal is to pick 56 times in a row and I believe win 5.6 million from MLB. Anyways, the leader right now is at 48 games and counting. So getting close to that magical 56, of course, in order of Joe DiMaggio. We'll see if that Beat the Streak user can come through and make it to 56. I don't think it's been done before. I think there's some people that have gotten very, very close. Very, very close. But beyond that, let me get the comments, and then I am going to take off for the night. Natalie says, why can't the pitching staff and offense have good games on the same day? I don't know. I made the same point myself. Just can't get on the same page. Maybe that day is tomorrow. Maybe. Let me keep going. I like how Mad Max, DeGrom, I like how we have DeGrom and Mad Max Scherzer, but I feel like we should have tried to get a younger starter. I just don't think that the Rangers wanted to give up a lot of prospects and farm capital. They have Kumar Rocker. They have Jack Leiter down in the minors. You might not be very impressed with those guys, but the Rangers do have some guys down in the minor leagues. I just don't know if they wanted to bail on those guys and give up a bunch of prospects to try and get some of the names that were on the market. I don't know. And the Rangers were in kind of a spot where if you are going to go get somebody, you want them to be controllable, not just a rental. I think it was a tough place for them to be. Like they could have gone out and gotten a Garrett Crochet. Might have actually worked out because Garrett Crochet doesn't want to pitch in the postseason. And the way the Rangers are playing right now, it doesn't look like they want to play in the postseason. So that might have been a match made in heaven. But I don't know. I don't blame the Rangers for not going out and getting a pitcher at the deadline. So at this point, Natalie says, what's going on with Smith? Hitting 225 in his last 30 games, under 200 in his last 7. We brought up maybe the fact that he's DHing and not playing the field, but he actually is hitting like 267 as a DH. So I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on with them. I do think they're going to have to make a move with him down in the order. If they really are still trying to competitively, which I can only assume they are, if they're still wanting to be in the playoffs, I think they have got to make moves quicker rather than delaying them, sooner rather than later. I don't think you have time to let Josh Smith flounder in the leadoff role for another week. That's the point. I don't know what's going on with him. Haven't done a deep dive on his swing or his approach. So I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of Josh Smith. I do agree. I mean, look, I'm not getting in my feelings about Chris, but Chris, there's a lot of hate going on. Rangers, let's see this. Rangers won a World Series. Great. I always love when people say that. I get so much of that. All the videos that I do. Great. They won a World Series. What are you talking about, dude? There's number of teams right now that have never won a World Series. Great. Yeah, they only set like a major league record for most postseason wins in a row. They had one of the most epic World Series runs of all time. Yeah, great. Whatever. Okay, Chris. Okay. Yeah, the Corey Kluber trade was not good. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Probably one of the worst trades, I would say. Of course, the Rangers gave up Emmanuel Clase, who's now pitches for the Indians, absolute stud. And in return, we got, drum roll please, what, an inning of Corey Kluber? Adolis was him. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Adolis was him. That was one of the most outstanding postseason runs. Again, Adolis setting the record, most RBI in a postseason ever. Impressive. I mean, look, we probably need to put a little asterisk for Dolly because there weren't as many postseason games way back when in the major leagues. The wild card round obviously was added. Then you had the divisional. Then you have the championship series and the World Series. So he had a couple more games to do it versus all the players that came generations before him. But look, nevertheless. Yeah, Clase, 100% though. Clase was a big loss. The Rangers have had a few bad trades, but what team hasn't? Every team has had bad trades from time to time. 100%. All right, y'all. I got to call it a night. Going to sleep this one off and hopefully be in better spirits tomorrow. I just want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in live, or if you're watching on the replay, thank you for going out of your way today to watch a little Right On Rangers. We appreciate the support. If you're not following the account, if you're not subscribed to the channel, would greatly appreciate if you do so. Hit that notification bell. Stay up to date every time we go live. We go live on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, on Instagram. There's a lot of different options out there for Rangers content, but we thank you for choosing Right On Rangers. And if you know someone that loves the Rangers, loves Major League Baseball, please send them my way. Send them one of my videos. Tell them about the channel. Tell them about the account. Let's keep getting good people together, talking Rangers baseball, talking baseball in general. Appreciate all y'all. Hope you have a great rest of your Friday night. Thanks for hanging. We'll see y'all tomorrow, hopefully after a Rangers win. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers. Have a good one.